Hi, I'm Stephanie Peral, and welcome to Site Speak, brought to you by Condesa Spaces. Today, we're joined by the lovely Hector Castro from Hera Lending. Hi, Hector.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm great.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you from Miami or?
No, actually, I'm from Venezuela. Very, very Venezuelan. If I can be in Venezuela, I'll be in Venezuela. But I was kind of threw away of my country in 2012.
2012. Oh, okay, so pretty recent.
Yeah. I've been here for the last 14 years, almost 14. Yeah, basically doing financing since I started. I did my business degree in Venezuela. I think on New York, Miami, but I always says that Miami is the closest place to the United States.
Yeah.
So I decided to move to Miami to start a family here. I have 2 daughters.
That's beautiful.
So it's been great for me. So now I'm a citizen already. So I'm really grateful about this country, even though I cannot lose my Venezuelan, like roots.
No, of course.
In every day. So I'm in the I-95 some days, and I don't even, realize that I'm truly living in Miami,
Yeah, it's still surreal for you?
Yeah, it's still surreal.
My husband's Venezuelan. He used to spend every summer there, and he misses it so much.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He loves it. Venezuelans are very prideful, but I love that.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about, you went to business school in Venezuela. Did you go for a specific, I don't know if it works the same as in the US. Is it a specific degree or
business,
a focus
business in
on
banking.
something?
Yeah, business in banking. And then I decided to move to the US. I didn't knew at that moment in which industry I would like to. I was pretty young. I identified that I was a very good salesman, and I know some finance background. So I knew it that I could do sales. And so I applied to work, for example, at JP Morgan because, New York. And then, no, I prefer Miami. I started working in a family office. When I arrived, they were doing stock, real estate, and they were starting a private lending new company.
Okay. And so that was in Miami. So you went straight from Venezuela to Miami?
Yeah, straight to Venezuela to Miami, yeah.
And so what were you doing in that company?
I started from the bottom. I was like the office boy, trying to learn about the business. I have no idea what lending was because in Latin America, I grew in a family where my grandfather says that the people who ask money is because they're in troubles. We don't think, leverage it's bad. Lending is predatory in the whole Latin America. So that was my understanding on the lending industry. And then I started learning that in the US, leverage is everything. And if you know how to use leverage, you're going to be, very, very successful. So, yeah, I basically learned about the business. Hard money lending at that moment was very, very popular because of the crash of 2008. And I learned and I evolved also with the industry. And long story short, I started to be an office boy. Now I have my own business. I've been doing this for the last 6 years. I already lend more than $1.8 billion. I used to be number 2 local lender in Florida, number 27 in the whole country. So it's been
That's incredible. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been a really fun journey.
You're living the American dream.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I remember when I arrived to the U.S., I applied to V-Valley Parking and all the classic stuff. And nowadays, I can tell you, with great effort, I did something,
No, 100%. How much do you think kind of starting from the bottom influenced your work ethic, right? I think it's very different when you kind of have to work your way up the ladder and kind of really see what goes down in every aspect of the business.
To be honest, and I'm working that on therapy right now because for me, nothing is that impressive. It's basically what I had to do, and everything that I do nowadays, I don't give that, for me, nothing is too impressive. For me, it's basically this is what I need to do, and I'll do it. And
You're
it's
too
okay.
hard on yourself.
And and that's it. I don't think I'm too hard, but. Yeah, I think it was, my moment. I'm a type of person the what if, that was just do it. I'm that type of person. I don't hesitate. If I need to do something, I'm gonna do it. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm gonna accomplish, my goals. That's what I always been, like.
So let's talk a little bit about the business for people who don't really understand what lending is. Can
Yeah,
you kind of
it's
give us like a layman's term?
it's crazy, like, because there are so many, like, misunderstanding in the industry. There's private lending, there's hard money lending, there's conventional lending. So lending, basically, we just sell money, like, that's the if you have to give a summary on what we do, it's obviously we have money, people needs money, we're gonna lend them money in order to get some retribution as interest payments, right? So there are many tiers in the financial industry in terms of lending. Obviously, if you see the pyramid, the cost of money, right? So the conventional lending, it's basically the government who already design a vehicle where the citizens can access to money in order to buy their homes. We're talking about mortgage, like lending residential. And the principle of the democracy in the US is every citizen should be able to buy their properties if they work and they have, like, sufficient liquidity. So the conventional industry, which is the first tier, is basically the banks using our money to do loans and then sell those loans to the government, right? So
Right.
the government is financing all the lending, like, first tier of the pyramid. Then we have the non-qualified mortgage industry, which is all the loans that basically do not qualify in that government, setup. And those loans are 30-year loans. And those loans are, for example, I don't know if people know the bank statement loans, the DSCR, the debt service. So all those loans that they're not directly with your income or your tax returns or your employment status. It goes with your monthly income, like, based on many other things, or based on the debt service of the property. We are located on the third tier, which is the private lending industry, where it doesn't have more than 6-7 years. It's a very new industry, because private lending, institutional private lending, it's basically the evolution of hard money. So what it's institutional private lending is basically smart money. People from BlackRock, Mass Mutual, like pension funds, insurance funds, they said, like, 6-7 years ago, hey, I really like these short-term loans, because they were used to buy 30-year papers. So on a 30-year papers, you are too much exposed to many things that could happen in 30 years. Economic, political, wars, a lot of things. Personal. So all of this institutional money start looking at the hard money lending industry, and they say, okay, maybe if we fix some things, we can do this. Because the hard money, which is the fourth tier, it's purely asset based. So they don't care about the sponsor. They just care about the asset. And that industry got very popular after the crash of 2008, because everyone was, like, in bankruptcy, foreclosures, bad credit. So all this industry, the hard money, starts saying, like, hey, Stephanie, I don't care who you are. Let me see your property. Okay, I like your property. I'll give you 60%, 12%, crazy rates, 12%, 3%. But people at the end, they need money. Even if it is expensive or cheaper, people needs money. And if they're willing to pay the interest and they have the ability to repay, they're going to take it. And then the smart money arrive and they say, okay, the hard money is great because it's a short term, but we need to check also the sponsor. And institutional private lending, it's based on sponsor asset based. And then, like, the industry evolved.
Who are the sponsors?
Sponsors are basically the borrowers.
Okay.
We check credit, we check the background check. We need to fully understand, like, who's Stephanie. I already see your property, but let me see you. Let me see if you have the ability to repay.
Right.
So that's where Hera Lending is located. And I think the reason that we are all here is because Condesa also works with all the developers, and one of our niche is the construction loans and fix and flip, which is very common right now in the real estate industry.
Right. So let's rewind a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Hera Lending. When did you start it?
Yeah, Hera Lending, it's the evolution of a previous company that I used to have. We was Equity Lending Solution. Equity Lending Solution is not in the industry anymore.
Okay.
Uh,
How long ago was this?
December.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty new.
Okay.
So I started my previous company in 2019. By the end of 2019, in 5 years, we did almost $1.6 billion.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and in December, we got, we basically, I'm not with my ex-partners anymore, and Hera Lending started. 90% of what it used to be my previous company, it's in Hera. So it's basically the same people doing the same thing with a different name. But Hera is the evolution of something that we believe it was great. And that's why it calls Hera, like it's the new Hera of lending. So it have many, things behind the name.
I love that. What else is behind the name? Because I know there's something special behind Hera.
Yeah. When I was designing the company in December, I started thinking about. I have 2 daughters, and I'm 100% confident that this is the women's Hera.
Heck yes.
100% sure about that.
Love that.
I truly believe that men's are hunters, but women's they're superheroes. And they can do many things. You give me a task. I'm gonna do it, but give a woman 10 tasks and she's gonna do it.
That's right.
And when I was looking for a name, I'm because my name is Hector from Troy, and there are many Greek, in my back. I was looking at Roman, Greek, goddess, God, and it was like, no, it needs to be a woman. So I identified that Zeus' wife was Hera, and Hera was the goddess of home, the goddess of marriage, the goddess of protection. So, and she was a woman. And when I look at the name, my oldest daughter is Elena and my younger is Clara. So it's how begins the name of Elena and how it ends the name of Clara. So it has so many, things that goes around the name that I really, really like it.
I love that. That's incredibly beautiful and inspiring. I love that you're like the ultimate girl dad.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
How much does that influence you and kind of starting your business and creating this legacy for your little girls?
I think it's everything, I really believe in the legacy part more than on I'm not a greedy guy, so I don't care about the money. I always says that, and I always says to my daughters also, for me, it's not, we live in a society. I'm not going to criticize the society, but I'm not that happy on the society that we are, because everything is on the how much. And I always say to my daughters, it's not just cut the much, just see how, right? Just be aware on the how.
Money is not everything. I can tell you that personally.
Money is not everything. I don't care about the much, I only care about the results. And if you work good, and if you work with ethic, with morale, and you take care of, on the people, I really believe on the common good instead of the personal good. I don't care about me. I need to care on the common, so.
And is that how you run your business? Is that the culture you maintain?
It's exactly how I run my business. We have something that we call the Hera way. When I design, I have everything well planned. I'm like Doctor Strange. I need to see all the possibilities.
Love that.
So we have something that we call the Hera way, and everything that everyone that works at Hera needs to live on the Hera way. It's like the Mandalorian Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
And the Hera way stands on the initials on every acronym on the name. It's H as home. You need to work as you were at home. Be careful, care of everyone who is in that home at that moment. The E is from excellence. So everything you do, you need to do it with excellence. The most important thing is with respect, which is the R of Hera. And at the end, it's the A of accountability. So we need to be responsible in our acts. And at the end, I think it's in everything, but in lending and in work, people are going to make mistakes. Just be accountable for it. Just say it loud, I did a mistake. Let's solve it together. For me, I don't care if you made a mistake. I care if you do the same mistake 3 times. I always say that either you learn to fail or you fail to learn.
Wow. That one just my mind. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I used to say the same thing. And, that's interesting because people fail with accountability a lot, and especially kind of in the workplace because I think they fear consequences, but they're only hurting themselves in the long run.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And have you found kind of managing that being a difficult part of the business or a more rewarding part of the business?
I'm in the middle because it's painful, like dealing with people, it's painful dealing with personalities, with ego, with a lot of things. But yeah, I'm a very inclusive type of business owner. So I don't know if I care too much. I'm also working on therapy on that because I care too much. But yeah, it's interesting. I really enjoying, like life and work. And for me, it's like the Japanese says, I have the perfect balance, the ikigai, like when I combine the three things. And I always says that my life, it's like if you have three heads and you have like a pool and you can only grab one head at a time. So you have family, you have work, and you have friends. And you need to have the perfect balance because if you pull out the work head, you're going to drown the family and you're going to drown the friends. So you need to find the perfect balance between the three things, and you can only pull once at a time. So don't try to mix family with work or family with friends or work with friends. So make sure that you are, like using your time in order to take care of everyone.
Right. And that's a lot more difficult to do
It's
in
horrible.
reality because I mean a big part of why I left being a lawyer is because I felt like it consumed my entire life.
Yeah, 100%.
If my job wasn't my husband, I was failing. And so I was on call 24/7. I mean, I've mentioned it before, but I worked the wedding of my weekend. Like I just felt like I gave up too much of my life to work. How do you manage still running a successful business, but making sure that you keep your priorities intact? Because I remember when, law students would ask during interviews, how do you do your work-life balance? And I'm like, that's just a personal question. That's everybody on their own. Like there is no secret recipe
I
to
don't
doing
think
it.
there's a secret. You need to be in peace with yourself on everything you do. And I'm a very passionate man. So everything that I do, like needs to be done with like be present in that moment. So I'm trying to, like if I'm with my daughters, I'm with them, like I have no time for other people. So trying to be very, like passionate on everything that we do at a time. So if I'm working, I'm going to be the best work. And if I'm with my daughters, I'm going to be the best dad ever. If I'm with my friends, I'm going to be the best friend ever. And trying to find the perfect balance during the day also. And I always says like, your team is everything, like I'm super grateful on the team that I have, the team that I built. I super rely on my team. I know that I have the right team to do it. And I always says that we don't have a lender, we have a restaurant. It's the same concept. So you can go to a restaurant, the food is okay, the price is okay, but if they treat you well, like full transparency, full communication, and with everyone, but yeah, if I need to give you an advice or the people who are hearing the podcast, it's trying to identify who you are first. We live in a society like we are looking at the others because I always say that my mind, it's a scary place, and that's why I don't go alone. And I recommend people to do therapy. I recommend people to basically try to understand what you need. What are your needs? Because we are basically trying to fulfill the other needs instead of fulfill your needs first.
I'm a huge advocate of therapy. I love you mentioning that because I think so many people that are scared of it, and especially, I mean, not to generalize, but to generalize in the Hispanic community,
No,
like,
yeah, 100%.
it's like, oh my God, I'm not going to go pay someone to talk about myself or like talk about my problems. And I think people don't view it more as kind of another tool in your toolkit to help you grow as a person in every aspect of your life, right?
Yeah.
And so it sounds like therapy is kind of a big part of your maintenance.
Yeah, I think also the mind, like we taking care of everything in our bodies instead of our mind. So we're super worried. Okay, let me go to the gym. Let me take some pills. Let me take some vitamins. Let me eat good. Let me do this. But no one take care of their minds. So it's like, and I think it's the most important thing.
Agreed, because your mind can be your biggest enemy.
Yeah, it is your biggest enemy.
100%. One time I heard something along the lines of like, 2 + 2 = 4 because your mind tells you. So what if you wake up one day and your mind tells you 2 + 2 = 5? There's, I don't know. It's just fascinating.
Now that you mentioned that, the 2 + 2 example it kills me. It kills me because for me, it needs to give 4. Like I'm very, like mathematical guy,
Right.
and there are some aspects in my life, not many, but never it's gonna give me 4, and it's horrible because that's a type of mindset. I have like a fixed mindset.
Right.
Needs to give me 4, but no.
How do you deal with that in business when you just can't get the 4?
No, it's horrible, but I've been, like trying to work with it and be flexible and find a way and just basically understand that 4.001, it's good enough. Like
Right.
the perfect is the enemy of the good.
100%.
So,
And have you found that kind of...
I recommend that book, Perfect. I don't remember the author, but it's amazing.
So
Perfect.
You like
Isn't it?
reading?
Yeah, a lot.
What do you like to read?
Most of the time, I'm more on the mental health, way on trying to understand humanity, world, people, humans.
Okay.
So yeah, I love many things.
Are you reading something at the moment?
I'm reading the Joe Dispenza book. I don't remember the name right now. I'm gonna tell you, but I really love Joe Dispenza because the way how he connected the mind with the all this Buddhism, like. It's amazing.
And I'm sure you incorporate kind of all of this work that you do on yourself and your mind into the Hera Way and Hera Lending,
100%,
right?
all the time. Actually, every morning we do a morning call with the whole office. I have 33 employees right now. And basically what we work every morning, it's just a part of we talk about the news and we talk what's going on in the world, but it's basically try to be aware on who we are and the why. I think the most important thing is why we are doing this.
And why?
Basically because we just helping people building their dreams. Like it's we are the ones who can make possible other people's dream. Either they're building houses or this is funny because I used to have a tomato farm.
Okay.
One of my, like crazy ideas.
I love this.
I'm a very, very big thinker. So
Yeah.
in 2017, I'm Venezuelan, and in Venezuela, like people were basically in the streets fighting against the government. I have a nonprofit organization, so I was the biggest nonprofit organization that helped Venezuela in 2017. We financed basically a lot of things. We sent 82 not ships. How do you say contenedores?
Containers.
Yeah. We sent in 2017 82 containers of helps and aids to Venezuela in order to help the people who were in the streets and many other things. But the couriers, the guy who sends the containers, they had a tomato farm. And they start talking about the tomato farm. And I was like, okay, this could be a great business. And crazy idea. I went to it was La Belle near Lake Okeechobee. And I bought 14 acres. And I bought 65,000 plants, like to start a tomato farm. Like I was the farmer in Coral Gables.
That is incredible.
Crazy. It was the worst experience in my life.
Wait,
because
why?
Farming is horrible. There are many, many things that could happen, and everything happened to me. But it was amazing. It was the worst thing ever and the best thing ever. Why? Because you know how grateful I am every time that I receive a plate of food? Because I just imagine all the things that happen in order to me having a tomato in that plate, to having a rice in that place. So you have no idea, how many people got involved just to make one tomato alive. Like it's crazy. And that's exactly the why on the lending, like the impact that you're doing and all the people involved. I remember when we started Hera in January 1st, the first thing that we did was a business review. So I gather everyone. I have 19 people working in Venezuela because I have a back office in Venezuela.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Underwriting, processors, servicing. It's great people working for us. And I brought everyone. So, okay, I need everyone here. We're starting again. But we have experience. But let's do a business review. Let's see the expectations. The expectation between ourselves, the expectations on our clients, the expectation with third-party relatives. So basically, we gather everyone and we set the expectations because I think there's where you start with the respect. Like I had a professor who told me like in life, everyone should have operating agreements. You're a lawyer,
Yeah.
and you're gonna agree with this. So if you have a friend, you should have an operating agreement with your friend. If you have a husband, you should have an operating agreement. We live in a world like we are figuring out everything. Let's not figure it out. If we're gonna work together, if we know, if we're gonna get married, if we're gonna be friends, if we're gonna be partners, if we're gonna be, like clients and lending, a lender, what are your expectations? Okay, I'm gonna do this, you're gonna do that. We set our operating agreement, let's start this together.
That was going to be my next question. How is managing those expectations with the clients and the lenders? I'm sure that can be a difficult balance
No,
as
it's
well.
horrible. It's horrible because the level of complaint, it's crazy. What we're doing at Hera Lending, it's basically what I think is the lack of the industry. We're making the client part of the team. It's like, hey, you're part of this. You're not here because it used to be like a fighting all day. Like you want money, I want to give you the money, but we need this and you want that. No. Basically, what we have in all lending industry in general, what we have is access to unlimited money, right? It's basically like that. If you go to Chase or if you go to a bank, they have access to not unlimited, but it's that much that it's basically unlimited. So, and we have requirements. So don't be the yes man. Just sit down with your client. Hey, we need to have these 20 documents. And over these 20 documents, possible 10 outcomes could be 10 more questions. So let's try to have everything solved from day one. Let's work together. You get 5 documents. I'll get 5 documents. Let's create the file. Let's make it happen. So create that expectation from the beginning and don't be the yes man. Don't tell a client you can do something that you don't not 100% sure that you can do it, because I think that's what's going on in the world. Everyone is saying yes, and then they figure it out. And they're human beings. I think the most important is that we don't have time. We don't have enough time. Time is the only limited resource that we have. So for a human being, someone losing, the time, it's like, you just make me lose 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks that I don't have. And
Time is money.
Time is money at the end. So I think that's the.
And I'm curious. I always want to know, when you can't make 2 + 2 = 4 with the client, has there ever been a situation where you've kind of had to separate that relationship just because?
Yeah, I think the good thing that what we have is we are a very relational company instead of transactional. So if 2 + 2 give you 5 and you are a transactional company, people gets very angry at you because I'm just another number and okay, you threw me away. We are very relational. When doesn't give us 4, we call the client like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna try to give you the 4. Even it's 5. Let's the other one that we don't know where to fit it. Let's work it out together. Like I'm gonna pay for that too because it was my mistake. I also try to give you 4. And I'll give you 5. So how can I make this, possible in order to you making sure that the client understand it wasn't our fault. And if we did a mistake, we're going to pay for that mistake. So accountability, I think that's all.
And is this what you think differentiates Hera Lending from others?
100%. It's the relationship. I've been, I had clients and it's funny, like 2-3 years ago, the biggest competitor in the industry is like a fintech company from California who basically #1 market share in all states. And they're cheaper. I don't think they're faster, but they're fast enough. But they don't have the relational part. So yeah, 7 out of 10, they're going to do a better deal than us. But 3 out of 10, they're not even going to answer the phone. And that's the differentiator. Like I need someone when things goes wrong, pick up the phone.
It was the same with the lawyer. They expect you to pick up the phone if you're like giving birth in a hospital.
Yeah.
There would be women working the day of their C-section, of their scheduled C-section. And I'll just be like,
yeah, no, it's crazy. So yeah, I think that's the difference. Like we do care about our clients, and I'll prefer to have just a few good clients instead of having, like millions of bad clients or people who we're not going to be able to care.
quality over quantity.
Yeah, quality over quantity, 100%.
And if you can't talk about it, what have been some of your more exciting deals or more of your successes in starting Hera Lending?
Wow. For example, well, Hera Lending and my whole career. So in my career, I helped basically build cities. Like I remember on the west coast of Florida, I used to be the biggest lender in the west coast of Florida. I deployed more than $500 million in the west coast of Florida.
Wow.
I helped people who were just starting with 1, 2, 3 houses. Now they build 300 houses with me. So seeing those people grow, help the community, it's crazy. And in Hera Lending, it's basically, I was very, not scared, but anxious on, this is a new venture, like basically it's the same people doing the same thing. But people were excited because there were so many things to fix, and Hera Lending, it's the right company to fix all the failures in the industry. Like we just basically identify all the flaws, and we're trying to make it better. That's all. We just launched the first certification for brokers in the private lending industry because it's crazy. You as
What
a
is
lawyer,
that?
our industry is not regulated, which is crazy.
It's wild.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Like it's a $1.8 trillion industry with no regulation.
Right. And that's why 2008 happens.
Exactly. So thank to God, we are dealing with regulated money. So there's like a hybrid, like, okay, it's a non-regulated industry, handle regulated money. So there are some rules on the money that it's being deployed. But who are deploying that is the people that are not regulated. So the lack of process, knowledge, it's crazy. Actually, I'm launching the first private lending book in the industry. There's no even a book saying what is private lending.
I love this. I did not know that. Okay, when is that book coming out?
In September 18 is the launch of the book, Beyond Mortgages, What is Private Lending.
That's
right?
so cool. I work at a bookstore.
Yeah.
You should do an event with us. Actually,
yeah.
I'm not even kidding. At Books and Books Coral Gables. I don't know if you've heard of us.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
That would be great. I
So-
love that.
So it's crazy. And the certification that we launch, it's basically giving basic knowledge to the people who are dealing in the industry. So brokers, realtors, or even licensed loan officers in the conventional part. They work in the private lending or harmony lending industry, and they have no idea, about how the industry works or what are the things that you should do in terms of anti-money laundering manual, KYC, like TILA, the Truth in Lending Act. So there are many things that we should be following. Even no one tells you that you need to be following. You have to. If we are building a legacy, if not, the system is gonna crack. Jamie Dimon said that like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That he doesn't believe in private credit, but he's gonna deploy $50 billion. It's like, okay, what was the message?
Yeah. You still believe in it?
Yeah.
Ay, se me fue. I was just going to ask you a question.
Regarding the book, regarding the certificate, regarding the company.
No, it was regarding the company. Oh, that's what specific challenges come in construction and lending? Because construction is kind of its own entire animal, right?
Yeah, and well, construction it's huge, and that's also a differentiator because we're not a lender, we're a partner. I basically beg to our clients to work more diligent with our draw department, because every time, just to the people to understand that we do a construction loan, we basically give a line of credit to build. We're not giving, if you need $1 million to build a home, we're not going to be giving you the $1 million from day one. I'll give you $1 million debt note, and you're going to be pulling out the money based on completion. So we're going to be partner. I have the money, you are the builder. If you put a block, I'll go see, you put a block? Okay, $10, right? That's how it works. So most of the builders, they don't see the lender as his partner. So they're trying to, basically force the lender to release the money without, a specific, condition. So yeah, it's difficult. And also because of the tariffs and because of the lack of liquidity, a lot of builders, they're struggling right now on the back end, selling the properties. So we are a super flexible lender, understanding that bad things could happen. So there's when you identify, the type of lender you're working with or the type of bank you're working with. So when things go wrong, not when things go good, like I read a book, and my memory is not, don't ask me about the name. I'm going to share it with you about an Indian, like who says there was like a marriage book relationship, but like 75% of the time, disagreements are more often than agreements. And that's happening in a marriage, that happening in relationships. That's also is going to happen with your lender, like how you handle the disagreements. No one cares about the agreements, right? So
When things are good, things are good.
yeah.
And is there anything kind of like trending in lending right now? Like what's big in lending? I don't really know.
I think the most important thing is the AI, which I love. So they're trying to incorporate so many, like artificial intelligence tools as underwriting, processing. We're trying to do the same thing without losing that personal touch, because machines most of the time, they're not going to be creative. They're not going to be fully understanding your needs.
Can you explain that to me? Like kind of more like literally what the AI does for you?
Well, actually, we have an agent in the company. Like we have basically an artificial person who works for us. Her name is Athena on this Greek, like environment.
I love it.
And what Athena does, it's basically she has the knowledge on many things regarding on underwriting guidelines, processing, SOPs, training purposes, amazing. So you can go to Athena and ask her all the questions you can instead of, like going to a department or check the manual. So it's great, right? It's amazing. A lot of lenders already, like trying to incorporate more agents, artificial agents. It's cheaper. It's faster. Athena works 24/7. So yeah, it's great, but without losing that personal touch, because maybe, and I give you an example, a literal example. Maybe we have a client that doesn't meet the credit score, but like the natural answer is, okay, if you can find a partner who meets the credit score, maybe we can work with your partner instead of you. Athena doesn't, she's not going to come with a creative idea on how we can make the deal possible.
That was going to be my next question, because I know in the legal space, like what AI is capable of doing is insane.
Yeah, no,
like something that I literally took, no lie, 40 hours to do, it does in 10 seconds. So, I mean, I know that personal touch and that creativity is a lot, but is there a fear that AI is just going to take over the industry completely?
Actually, I'm going to share with you, we did a presentation with a colleague from Harvard like a month ago. And at the end of the presentation, I just said to the people, because the NVIDIA CEO just said it like 3 months ago, AI is not going to replace anyone who doesn't know how to use AI. So
I like that.
Yeah.
So you see it more as a tool that you're going to have to incorporate.
Personally, I think AI makes humans superhumans. It's like having like a super, super intelligent assistant, but it needs to be manipulated by someone yet, like still. I don't know, in the future, I've been reading an article the other day from Harvard, like super intelligence, which is a new thing, can be, like standing by itself, doesn't need manipulation for humans. So probably that's
when we're entering the matrix.
Yeah, that's exactly. But AI, what we know about AI, it needs to be manipulated by humans. And I think, and I told that to all my employees, learn how to use it, because you're going to be replaced by people who knows how to use it. That's all.
That's smart.
It's like the internet, I think we are living in another revolution. We like the industrial was great. Internet was great. AI, it's the next revolution,
So you're not worried, because you guys still have the personal touch that AI can never replace.
100%. I'm kind of, like still that type of guy that I prefer to have a personal meeting instead of a, like Zoom, or I truly believe in energy. So the way I connect with people, it's so much better.
I can tell just speaking to you. You're that kind of person.
It's and through a camera or through, you cannot do that.
And I know that philanthropy and giving back is really important to you. And I know that you do a lot through Hera Lending. So can you tell me a little bit about Hera Studies?
Well, yeah. Then on the philanthropy way, actually, we have Hector Cares.
That's my next question. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it's more important in terms of legacy and what you can do to others. It's more important that what we're doing in terms of, like profitability or economics on the business. That's everything for me. So when I designed Hera Cares, because I used to have a nonprofit organization, basically I'm just funneling everything through Hera Care right now in order to connect everything. In every loan that we do, we are forcing our clients giving back to the world. So instead of going to a Publix or to do shopping and they ask you, okay, you already spent $200, you want to give $10 to this. No. On the $200 that you already spent, $10 is going to be given
So
to.
it's part of the contract.
It's part of the contract. So everyone who works with Hera Lending, it's contributing and it's giving back to the community. So we support Hermanos de la Calle. It's basically a nonprofit organization here in Miami who already pull out like 7,000 homeless from the street.
That's incredible. I do a lot of work with Camilla's house. That's very important.
Yeah, and we help, for example, obviously because I'm Venezuelan and I'm not going to let down my country, we help a nonprofit organization in Venezuela. So with $35, we basically handle everything that a child needs in that the nonprofit. They with $35 they eat during the whole month and they give academic, like teaching to those kids. We are supporting like 600 kids nowadays with everything that we do. And the challenge is in every loan that we do, we're gonna take back some money and we're gonna put it here and we're gonna put it in Venezuela.
That's amazing. So you guys have accomplished so much in so little time already. What's next for Hera Lending?
Well, I don't know. A lot of things, like we are based in Florida. We're going to be opening offices in 3 more states this year. The market is huge. The necessity is huge. And also on the helping needs is huge. And also the industry, it's new. So that's what excites me the most. All the lack of things that we have in the industry, I'm going to be trying to leave a better industry for the upcoming generations, set some standards, and like I never believe in competitors. I always believe in allies. So actually on the book that I'm releasing, I received 3 not threats because it was
threats. Wait, okay, I need to ask a little bit more about
people
this.
Recommendations on don't pull it out the book, because I'm gonna be telling the truth about the industry to many people who don't fully understand, and I know for a fact a lot of lenders, they're taking advantage of that like lack of knowledge. So they're charging crazy points to our clients. They're charging crazy things. They don't know about many things, and I think that's predatory. And I'm gonna release the book, and I'm gonna basically tell the people how it works, in order to have a better industry, because it's affecting the reputation of everyone in the industry.
And where will people be able to find your book?
It's going to be in Amazon. Yeah,
Okay.
Nowadays it's going to be in Amazon. I actually did an academic book. I'm co-writing with a finance professor of University of Virginia. He is a PhD. I want to do an academic book instead of, like a regular book.
Okay.
And the only way to do an academic book is being a PhD in order to get accepted.
Right.
And I'm not gonna do a PhD, so I find a friend of mine who is the finance professor of University of Virginia, and we co-write the book together.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. This was so
you.
fun. And let everybody know, where can you find Hera Lending?
So yeah, in social media, Hera Lending everywhere. Like Instagram, Facebook. We have our podcast too, Hera Podcast. We are located in 220 Northeast 59th Street in Little Haiti. And yeah, you can reach me out also in Instagram, Hector Castro _Hera. So just look Hera and I'll be there.
Perfect. And thank you for joining SiteSpeak.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you so much for joining SiteSpeak, brought to you by Condesa Spaces. Make sure that you follow us on Spotify, Instagram, and YouTube at SiteSpeak.